Howdy, it's TUBALCAIN again, and look what I just bought. A South Bend 10K heavy-duty lathe. Probably built in the 50s, I would think, maybe the mid-50s from the look of the cabinet, but I'm not exactly sure. But pretty good condition, not great, but I would say average for that age. And quite a few accessories came with it, and a few others that I bought. And this was at an estate auction. So let's move in and take a little closer look at what I got. This lathe features the underdrive, and it's a flat belt drive. And the motor on there is an almost new 3/4 horse Dayton single phase 110 volt, and I'm glad that it's single phase. And a rather newish looking square D drum switch. Now this is the belt tension device, and of course the belt should be kept in a relaxed position overnight or when not using the lathe. This machine was absolutely filthy when I bought it, and I spent 3 or 4 hours cleaning it, and to be honest with you, it doesn't look much better than when I started, but at least there are no chips on it, but the paint isn't in very good condition. But one thing I like about this machine is it's got the very large spindle hole here because it will accommodate a 5C collet attachment. So this is a much larger spindle hole than what you see on my 9-inch lathe. So you can hold, I think it's about 1 7/16 stock in there. And the gears look in real good condition. This guard here is aluminum, and so is this, where it's cast iron on the other lathe. There's a catalog number, and it's 4-inch, or I should say 4-foot bed. I do like the South Bend logo. And this has the more modern quick change gearbox on it. Some of the older ones had 1 tumbler and a lever on the top, but this has the 2 tumblers. Nice gearbox. I'm just assuming all the gears in there are good. I have not examined them, and there's no good way to do that other than to take it off or use a mirror underneath here and a light. This lathe has the telescoping taper attachment, which is a very nice feature and worth a lot of money if a fella had to buy it. So I'm really glad that there is one on this machine. And it came with 3 chucks. There's the 3-jaw that is a 5-inch. Chuck key is kept right there. I'm not sure I like that location, but there is a holder for it. Got a little damage here. That aluminum guard has been broken at one time. That's how you get at the bull gear pin, but someone has welded it. The condition of the ways and the bed, I would say, is only fair. There are plenty of nicks, scratches, and bumps on there. Some of these I think I'm going to have to take off with a stone because I feel high spots. The low spots do not matter, but the high spots do. Compound is in pretty good condition. Cross slide appears to be pretty good. I think the gibs are set a little bit stiffer than what I like. This is old enough to where the dials are not satin chrome. They are just steel. I did have to take a little steel wool to them because there was some light rust on them. The tailstock has a collar on it with graduations on the hand wheel, and I like that so you can tell how deep you're going, as well as the graduations on the quill. And we got a threading dial, which was missing on my other lathe. All of the controls on the apron are pretty much identical to those on a 9-inch South Bend lathe, but everything on this lathe is heavier and larger than the 9-inch lathe, so it is significantly different, although at first glance they appear to be identical. The machine runs rather smoothly and quiet compared to my other South Bend lathe. This machine will see a lot of use in my shop. I am not crazy about the location of the drum switch on this machine. I think it's very possible to bump it with your hip or your legs. All right, here's some of the things that came with it. We got a 7.5-inch 3-jaw chuck made by Cushman, and extra jaws for it. And here's a 6-inch 4-jaw. Now that's marked South Bend lathe made by Skinner. I have extra jaws for this one as well. I'm not going to show them to you. Came with a nice steady rest, a big faceplate, 8.5-inch, and then a 5.5-inch dog plate or drive plate. I'm really excited about this drawbar and the collet attachment, and here's the nose piece and the thread protector. It came with only one collet. The rest of the collets were all purchased by a rather enthusiastic bidder, and the spanner wrench. This is a die holder, I think, that can be held in a 3-jaw chuck. It holds the 1.5-inch dies, and a couple drill chucks, and they do not look that great. Also included is quick change tooling. Now this is not a Loris or Dorian, it's the import, Phase 2 or something like that. Still should be quite serviceable with 5 different tool holders, including some carbide tooling. And there's a nice carbide boring bar. There were many tool post wrenches. This is only a small portion of them. A drift, only one Armstrong tool holder, number 3 center, only one of them. And there were 2 of these lantern type tool posts. There were many Armstrong type dogs. This is only about half of them. I don't know why there were so many of them, because there's quite a few duplicates. Now these things I bought at extra cost. There's a 4-inch grind wheel, tool post grinder. I cannot find any name on this. I don't know what make it is, but it's a GE motor. This is a part of the taper attachment. It just wasn't mounted. That came with the lathe. I didn't pay extra, nor did I pay extra for this. And what this is, clamps to the bed. See the V? And a well, this is for the collet rack, but there was no collet rack. I didn't pay much for this, and it's probably not worth much, but this is a ball turning attachment or a radius attachment, which I may try out and use in one of my videos. And here is a Palmgren milling attachment. I already have one of these, but this one looks like it's hardly ever been used, maybe never used, because the man did have a milling machine, a hard-edge milling machine, so possibly he never used this. It looks like it's almost brand new, except that it's dirty. And a couple books came along with it, the Lindsay reprint of How to Run a Lathe, and the well-known treatise on milling and milling machines, and that's by the Cincinnati Milling Machine Company, and they made or printed thousands of copies of this. I also bought this. It's a Steric 24-inch height gauge. Needs a little polishing up. There's some light rust on it. However, it is missing the scriber, so I'll have to make one out of flat stock, precision ground flat stock, and then I can harden it. Not sure why I bought it, other than it was only $2. Also purchased was a Mitutoyo 6-inch caliper, electronic. I'm not sure why I bought it. I have 5 or 6 of these, but you know how it is. Sometimes you just have to have these things, and Hope you enjoyed this little video, gentlemen, and this is TUBALCAIN signing out for now, saying so long.